Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as Don King plays the guitar in studio today. And so many things going on. We've decided that Don will be here every Saturday now, and he is really when he does our theme song. I know that we just talked about fishing rodeos just at the end of the break there, and there's also a big event coming on before we go to a little fishing talk here. John Butler, I know you've got something going on at the Agri Center you want to say before we switch into fishing here.
You bet. Well, I appreciate you having us this morning. It certainly was a pleasure, but I'd like to have just a second talk about our Feast on the Farm. It's a farm-to-table event at Agri Center International.
There is food there.
It's lots of food, lots of great time. It's June 10th. That's on a Saturday from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. there in our expo building. So just come. We're going to have a great time. You can check it out online, register, or you can pay at the door, whatever you need to do.
And for information on that, they call the Agri Center with all the sevens in it. The number is
757-7777.
I can remember that, And if you're really lucky, John Charles Wilson will answer the phone out there.
We do what we have to get the job done.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. All right, let's switch now because we got Ron Wong on the line. He's down at Toledo Bend for the Big Lou's. And also Gene LaRue, a big media event. And Ron, I know the next guest is a happy camper. I mean, out of Delray, Florida, I think is where his home is. But right now he's up at Lake of the Ozarks doing a photo shoot. But, Ron, when a guy wins something he's been trying to win for a few years, it makes it even more important for our guest, doesn't it?
It really does, and I got to tell you, our next guest, he has been on a roll since last year.
Yes.
Coming off of that big win at Wheeler Lake, and now winning this year again. I mean, it's all good when you can win.
That's right, and that's our good friend John Cox. Good morning, John.
Hey, guys, what's happening?
Okay, now I know you've come down to earth. I've been told that you are laid back. I don't really know what that expression means a lot of times, but for a laid-back person, what did it mean for you to win at Chickamauga when the Bassmaster Southern Open? Man, I'm talking about a consistency. I mean, that was one of those days, 3 days, John. Tell us about how you did it and the consistency that you had.
It was just it was an amazing week. I was really looking forward to that one on the schedule. I really when I signed up for the Southern Opens, I was just excited to fish them all, and then I saw the Classic. The Classic was gonna be on a lake that I won last year on during the tour, the same exact week. So when I saw that, I was like, man, I have to somehow win one of these. One of these Southern Opens, and boy, Chickamauga it was amazing. It was just, the fishing was awesome. I went out, I didn't catch a ton of fish. I just caught the right ones.
You did.
I mostly just sight fished them. So it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. And it was, I caught an 815 on a spinning rod on 8-pound line. Day two, that was, and, I fish a lot of FLW stuff, so we use nets in FLW, and Bassmaster Southern Open, we're not allowed to use nets. So I was fighting that that almost 9-pound fish on 8-pound spinning on a loose spinning reel, on my MHX rod, and I'm fighting that sucker, and I'm having to chase it down like it's a tarpon. It took all my line off the reel all the way to my second to my backing. And I had to get it all back on there. It was an incredible fight. When I got it in, I thought I had a heart attack. It was amazing. It was unbelievable.
And again, we're talking to John Cox about the big win that he had on Lake Chickamauga. And I know Ron, he keep mixing them. He didn't want to mention Lake Hartwell, but Ron will be there, and so
I'll certainly be there,
and so will John. That's the crest of it. He's won on Hartwell before, and now he's in the Classic, and so that just adds much to his story, doesn't it, Ron?
Yeah, it really does. And I got to tell you, Hartwell, it fishes differently. Certainly when they'll be going there in March next year, early March. Hopefully we won't have the weather there
Don't even
that
think
we
about
had
it.
a couple of years ago when it was the high got to 19 degrees on the first day of
Why
the
did you bring
tournament.
that up, Ron? I mean, John does not want to hear that. Okay, now he's,
Yeah, I
he's
don't
a
want to
Florida
hear
guy.
that.
He's a Florida
let's,
guy.
Let's pray for,
Hey,
for
John,
80-degree days.
you did a great
and
job on
sun.
Chickamauga, and everybody has heard about people sight fishing.
Yeah,
And
tell
of
him
course,
about
that's
that.
only good during the early spring, right when the spawn is on for bass. But tell our listeners, how did you sight fish? What baits did you use? How did you work your baits through the beds?
Right. So a lot of the fish I found, we actually had a lot of rain and the water came up, so it was actually really difficult to see them. It was. I mean, you could. There was a lot of times where I would go and I actually wouldn't even see the fish, but I was throwing a dirty jig and I was kind of pumping it along just right under the surface where I could see it, and I'd get these fish to follow it, and then I'd kind of would ease up and I'd kind of follow that fish back, and I'd actually find where its bed was, and I mean they weren't, besides that one real big one I caught, I mean all those fish took 45 minutes to an hour to catch.
Wow.
Those 15 fish I weighed in or whatever. I mean it was a grind, and I'd have to work that fish with a ton of different baits. I'd have to throw tubes at them. I'd have to work them with a swim bait some just to get them riled up. I had to catch some on spinning rod. It was just it was really hard to figure out how to get them to bite, and it was just like staying persistent and just keep throwing, and it was amazing. The last day there was a 5-pounder that I worked for so long. I was getting ready to quit, and I was like, and I pulled the power poles up, and I just had my bait still in there, and she ate it. And I was like, that was just, I knew when I caught that one, it was my second or third fish. I was like, you know what, I might win this thing this week.
Well, it went through your mind. And of course, anybody that uses dirty jigs ought to be able to do pretty good.
Very likes names.
I like names of them. Dirty jig sounds pretty good to me. But I know, John. I think you're no longer laid back. You're into it now. I can tell the emotion, what that win means for you, because you've been. This quest is something that you've been trying for a few years. I know you're only 31. And in fish years, that makes you 65. For you guys.
I'm telling you, I'm fishing. It was crazy. Beaver Lake last week.
Yeah,
the water came up 12 feet during the tournament. And I swear that tournament aged me like 10 years. Like I went and got a haircut, and I'm more gray than I've ever been.
Oh, come on now.
I'm telling you.
Well, Ron talked about this, and we talked about this. We've had so much rain. All these big reservoirs are full. Table Rock is blowing out up there and things like that. And I know Beaver Lake because I went to school at University of Arkansas, and I've been on Beaver Lake many times out there. And I know how it can jump up. But you're able to do these things. You guys got to be, as Ron will say, and you've got to be versatile. I mean, they stick tags on you guys like you're sight fishing. But Ron, you agree with this? These guys today have to be versatile, don't they?
And they are. All of them are. I mean, you look at what John did, and when you talk about versatility, it goes back to the Forest Wood Cup when everybody's trying to fish ledges, points, and they're fishing shad spawns, and they're fishing shad moving up on points and stuff. And John runs up a creek about 8-9 miles away from everybody in super shallow water.
8 or 9 miles.
In August, and catches them. And that's versatility. And, John, you couldn't do all of that without the kind of boat you run.
Yeah,
You're one of the only touring pros, that runs an aluminum boat.
Yeah.
What does that do for you?
It just 2-3 years ago, I've been with Crestliner for I think 4 or 5 years now. I was running a much smaller aluminum boat, like a 17 to 18. I think I had a 19 in there with a 150 Mercury on it. And they finally, the year before last, they're like, I think they came to a weigh-in and they saw the takeoff and they're like, wow, he's going to get killed in this thing, and we need to make him something a little bigger. So they made me a PT-20. It's a 20-foot aluminum bass boat. It's got a 200 mercury on it,
wow.
And it's wider than any fiberglass boat, any of the other guys' bass boats that are out there. And it's got tons of storage. It floats super shallow. It still has the maneuverability that the smaller 17, 18, 19 foot Crestliners that I was running before had.
Wow.
Now we have more fuel, bigger motor. We can make longer runs. It's an awesome boat. And I mean, since we came out with that boat, I mean, winning at Hartwell and then winning the Cup and then, winning this Bass Open, it's just, it's just helped me tremendously,
Well,
it's an awesome boat.
That boat is made to run rough water, too, with the way the hull's shaped, too, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to break any speed records with it, but
no.
I've had it out there in 5-6 footers, and it's fine. It's not bad.
You better wear that life jacket, buddy. I tell you that. That's for sure. John, hey buddy, thank you for being with us. A great interview, and we will stay in touch. We wish you nothing but success, and poor old Michael Neal. Quit beating him, okay? I mean,
Michael Neal's going to put it on all of us here shortly. He's still real young.
He's
gonna have his time here. I'm sure.
He's after you though, buddy. People, you just Google Michael Neal and see what poor old Michael. He's finished second twice to John, and they got some kind of deal going on. Thank you, Thank you, John. Thank you, Ron, and we'll be back with you, Ron, a little bit later. Okay.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, John. Thank you, buddy. All right. John Cox, funny guy, great guy, 31 years old. Just, these guys in our last minute here, the pros are the most safety conscious. And you hear them, Don, those guys, you hear 5 to 6 foot waves.
Yeah.
And he's in an aluminum boat. Yeah. He's probably got a guitar as he's going around there, and everything. All right, let's take a break, come back. We had a room full. Now, don't forget May 20th, Ketchum Lake, a great event for you kids out there ages 5 through 13. So let's take a break, come right back, and talk some more fishing. We'll hook back up with Ron Wong, and we're going to talk, we might even let him play a song for us. Be right back.